Now, Africa is not looking pretty at all. And if you look at North Africa, and you see the state of war between the Saudi Arab Democratic Republic and Morocco, that's a red signal. Then, of course, you see the emergence of Islamic insurgents also in North Africa. Then, of course, there's the Azawid, the movement for the establishment of the Azawad Republic in the Sahel. That's very troubling. We know about the situation in Ethiopia, which is very, very troubling. We know about Nigeria. Nigeria is so troubling because Nigeria alone has half the population of West Africa. And the instability in Nigeria could cripple the whole of West Africa. You have the Niger Delta low-intensity civil war. You have the Boko Haram insurrection in the northeast. You have the secessionist movement in the east, Biafra, and so on. It's just a complete mess. Now we know also about the Islamic insurgents operating in Burkina, Mali, Guinea, and so on. And we know that last year, the northern frontiers of Benin was attacked by these insurgents. And then northern Togo was also attacked by these insurgents. So it's a very serious situation. You know, 16 years after independence, Africa appears to be breaking apart. And it's important for us to find out why Africa is appearing to break apart. And of course, the only reason is that those forces which are responsible for apartheid, those forces which are responsible for colonization, and those very forces which are responsible for the transatlantic slave trade and so on, are determined to stay and to steal our resources. And perhaps they figure that the only way of doing that is to destabilize Africa. Now the question then is, what do revolutionary and progressive forces in Africa do in the light of this onslaught on Africa by the imperialist forces? And I'd like to submit that our duty today as African revolutionaries, our duty today as African patriots and so on, is to mobilize across boundaries. To mobilize the working people, to mobilize the peasants, to constantly be raising the consciousness of our people by references to our history, references to the current mechanism for exploitation and so on. We need to build unity across our borders, and we need to build strong organizations which will stand up in the face of these aggressive maneuvers by the forces of imperialism.
If we really have to emancipate ourselves, we must look at our educational systems. Our educational system does not allow us to think critically. And these were all the machination of the colonialists. Look at Ghana, we were colonized by the United Kingdom. Do they have the kind of education system we go through? No. So I think that it's a good conversation we have to start together. And you ask about the source of the weapons they use in Sudan, because Sudan is a very poor country. Indeed, it's true. The leader of the SIF is so wealthy because he has control over some illegal mines, and that is his source of wealth. And there's a Russian mining company, and that is even the reason why the Wagner group is in Sudan as we speak, to protect the interests of the distant. And you must also realize something, and Comrade Kwesi mentioned it. They target areas that are rich in some specific natural resources they so desire, and they destabilize that place and get whatever they want to get. An example is Libya. You see, the oil in Sudan is in South Sudan. That was the reason why they fought for the independence of South Sudan. Sudan itself doesn't hold oil resources. That's why they are not interested. If you cast your mind back in Iraq, they made Trump up allegations because of oil. After getting what they want, Saddam Hussein is out. Why is the West no longer interested in Iraq? So we must wake up as Africans, and we must learn to trade among one another. It saddens me that Ghana, how many are we? Look at the natural resources we have. If we want to judiciously use our natural resources, we won't go and borrow money anywhere. Unfortunately, we are the IMF, and we are not alone. So the Sudan situation should be a wake-up call. There are pockets of this kind of paramilitary forces waiting to enucleate, and it's because our leaders are failing us. And I dare say that we are a reflection of how our political leaders treat us. Because politicians, I know what they are afraid of is the ballot box. Unfortunately, we the youth are the future leaders of tomorrow. When they do this nonsense, who consume those things? It is us. We jump to the media at the least opportunity to defend the indefensible. And all of these things will snowball one day, and we are all inside. Unfortunately, the forefathers who fought for our independence, I know definitely will be rolling in their graves. Because what they set out for, the sacrifices they made, the foundations they made, we have turned the clock anti-clockwise, and we are back to where they started. And at this stage, we don't even know how to figure it out. Just look at West Africa. Look at Togo. Look at Benin. Look at Mali. Look at Niger. Look at Burkina Faso. Look at Cote d'Ivoire. The hypocrisy of the French people when they removed Gbagbo, that he was subverting the will of the people. When Alassane Ouattara came, he's running his third term. And I dare say that he can run a fourth term and no one will talk. So Africans, we must wake up, and the time is now. Thank you.
Africa is not at ease. So President of Uganda, President Yoweri Museveni, has highlighted about the issue of Sudan, where he tweeted that we must discover who is pursuing illegitimate aims in the Sudan situation. Aims which are not principled. Who is it? These wars don't only kill people, they also kill the future of the people. You find that someone has built up a small business in Khartoum or Kampala, and then you start a war. What happens to his business? Are you going to compensate him, or he is going to start afresh? When he had already built up some capacity, therefore this war not only kill people but also kills the future of people, the opportunities. So I have been talking this many times that for Africa to move forward, to develop, we need to have a peace. And it is our duty as Africans to make sure that we have peace. And we young Africans who have been used by these people who have no goodwill with the continent of Africa, we must come to an end. We have been used for too long. Let us say enough is enough. And I crying every now and then with my African youth, young Africans, because we are the one who are participating in war. The youth